So I am on the section 2, which is called the Law of Compensation. And this chapter is called Touch Lives. So basically, touch lives means meet as many people as you can, give value to as many people as you can, have a larger impact. And I'm going to quote, "Your compensation is not a reflection of your goodness, worthiness, merit, or industriousness. It is an echo of impact." And basically find more people to connect with. And because in this book, they also say that word of mouth is still gold. So if people can connect with you, you give an impact, and they tell other people about you, about your product or service, then you're creating more of an impact. Word of mouth will get around about your great service or product, and people will eventually come to you. And I'm gonna give another quote. It says here, human beings communicating the impact that an experience has on them. So it's more exciting to share your experience with somebody else about the service or product that you received from someone, and then they'll tell their friends or family, and so on and so forth. And that's the main purpose of the Touch Lives chapter. And they also gave an example. So if you want an example, I'm gonna summarize it for you. So they gave an example of a school teacher who eventually was offering tutoring services, and she didn't consider herself a salesperson, but this was, she was selling herself, but she was comfortable selling tutoring services because obviously she was a school teacher. And when word got around that she was giving tutoring services and people liked her services, students and parents, talked to each other, shared the information, and eventually her business got bigger to the point where she could quit her teaching job and focus solely on the tutoring service. And then she had to contract other tutors to help her in her business because she couldn't do it all. That's an example of touching lives and making an impact and using the word of mouth. So I thought that was a good chapter. And obviously, most of us want that, to touch lives. And focusing on the other person. So, teachers don't really see themselves as salespeople, but they're really good at interacting, communicating with parents, connecting if they really love what they do. So anything else? Nope, that's it for now. I'll move on. So this chapter is called People. It's very similar to Touch Lives, the previous chapter. So I quote, "Making sales is a concept. Touching lives is reality. Sales is not about concept, it's about people." End quote. And so basically it says, you make an impact, you give value. And if someone wants you to keep in touch with them or, throughout the months or the years, I wrote down a few things that they listed in the book to have an impact and to give value. So they say, meet new people, attend events, send thank you cards, return phone calls, texts, emails right away. Like, don't wait too long, like maybe a day or two. Call when the other person is sick, or if something happens, or if they're getting married, or if there's a birthday, or if you know something that's going on and you can contact them about it and give praise or give your condolences. That makes an impact as well. And obviously the point is to touch as many lives as you can. So come from a genuine place of caring about the people you're interacting with as far as sales or business or even like acquaintances or workplaces. Everyone needs some positivity, everyone deserves to be acknowledged. And if you're the type of person to do those things or, even a small acknowledgement will light up somebody's day or make them smile. And yeah, so that's chapter 8 for you. And so this next chapter is called Rapport. Rapport is the fundamental skill of sales. We want to build rapport. Obviously, we don't want to startle someone with our sales pitch or scare them off. So we build rapport. And so when I read this portion about small talk, like how if we meet someone at a party or an event, guys will ask about sports, women will ask about the weather or, I don't know, something else. It's just a way for us to find some common ground with each other. It's not necessarily to hold the conversation at a superficial level the whole time. It's just kind of like an opening to be like, okay, we have some common ground. We have something that we can relate to enter the conversation or interaction. I've always been bored of small talk. I think because of my customer service background, I've used it so much. But yeah, it does help. It does help especially if they are a repeat client or customer or someone that you see often. But it is important after reading this. Okay, now I know why we do it. Before I didn't really I understood, but now I know specifically why. Also, it says here about rapport. When someone, for an example, when we're in conversation already with someone and we want to connect, it says here when someone opens up about a family member or an accomplishment, try not to one up them. Meaning, if I'm like the service provider and I have I'm talking to someone, and if I say, hey, what brings you in today? Let's say, I don't know, I'm at a gift shop or something, and mom is coming in to buy their daughter a present, right? Daughter's turning 10 years old, for an example. And then she's turning 10 years old. She completed a spelling bee. She got first place, right? And let's say I have a 10-year-old daughter too, and she's like a major athlete. I'm not going to tell my customer, be like, hey, my daughter just, finished a track and field race and she's going to the state championships. I don't know. It's just like when someone, and this is how I kind of do too, when someone says something about an accomplishment or they're proud of someone in their family, I'm like, oh my God, that is so awesome. You must be so proud. I'm sure they are very excited. What are you guys going to celebrate? Or where are you guys going to go for a celebration? That should be the response. Not turn it around and be like, I have a daughter too, like she goes to such and such school. Like, don't try to one up the person. Focus on the person because it's their moment. It's the other person's moment, the customer, the client, the prospect, whoever you want to label, like the other person. So yeah, and there's ways of building rapport. These are the few ways that they listed. Be polite. Don't interrupt the other person until you know that they're done. Let them finish their sentence and wait for a moment, like a second at least, before responding. Listen, actively listen. Don't just interrupt because you have the same thing going on. And make sure to smile again throughout your interaction. Say please and thank you, obviously. And be genuinely interested in the other person. I remember I was living in LA one time. It's like what not to do for rapport. So this is the what not to do. So I was at a party. I knew someone who either took me to the party, and I think she said to certain people that I majored in gerontology, which is social, the studying of the process of aging, but more of a social aspect. So that was one of my studies when I was in college. So someone said that about me, and there was a girl that came to me and pretty much she dumped a lot of emotional stuff on me about her grandparents or somebody that died because I majored in gerontology. So I listened the whole time, and then she basically just said thank you and walked away. And I was kind of like, what the F? I was like, you're gonna emotionally dump this on me and just pretty much, okay, thanks, bye. It was such a uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable for 5 minutes after she left my presence. And I was like, dang, that sucks. I didn't even, she couldn't even let me respond. She just walked away. I mean, it was a party, I was just like, this, I can't believe people do that. It's so rude, but don't do that. But that's not what to do. But I'm going to go back to my salon experience and lean on that for a little bit. So yeah, when I would sit them down, basically you are consulting them, how would you like your haircut? And make sure they're on the same page as you. Oh, you mean 1 inch? Okay, show them on a comb. This is 1 inch, but then this is their 1 inch. So make sure, you guys are on the same page and you're listening to them and you're truly care about what they have to say. And then and then there's a whole process to go by. So you can, as for me, I would turn their chair around so they can look in the mirror. I would give them a hand mirror, and then they would look at the bigger mirror and be like, okay, this is how much you want to take off. Okay, great. Yeah, make sure you're on the same page and not be like, I want to cut out, and them saying, I want 1 inch off. And then you'll be like, oh, okay. And then you cut it and it's too big. This is your 1 inch and this is their 1 inch. So who messed up, right? The provider did. The provider messed up because you weren't thorough. You weren't asking if this is okay. Do you want to take a look? But yeah, that's rapport. Or I think I went off on a tangent at the last bit, but yeah, that wasn't rapport, but that was like kind of being on the same page. Going back to what I said, if I'm gonna have somebody sit in my chair, I'm gonna be like, smile, hi, how are you? And okay, you know, you can either compliment on their hair color or jewelry or shirt that they're wearing if you feel like you need to break the ice a little more, and then start the conversation. How can I help you? You know, okay, let me make sure I understand. So this is 1 inch for you, but then this is 1 inch on my comb. I mean, that's just an example. That's not really sales, but that's just kind of like making sure you're on the same page. I guess that's sales. Everything is sales. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video.